Log, January 31st of the 206th cycle. Encrypted. A note to Arthur Lexant. Arthur! In looking back at my notes, I find that I have been remiss in fulfilling my promise to you since I graduated. However, if you will permit me to explain all that has happened in the past few weeks, I'm sure you will forgive me. The past few weeks have been a whirlwind, and I find myself already hired and embarked in a favorable position. As I mentioned in my last letter to you, the graduates of each class at the Institute are scrutinized by captains eager to fill in their ranks. With the war and the rapid militarization of the private sector, navigators, gunnery officers, and engineers are in high demand. While traditionally command school has a harder time outside the guard, I found the boundaries strangely lifted, despite being only third in my class. Things must be more desperate than I believed, but it has worked in my favor. I was interviewed and signed by one Captain Dyer. Odd name, that. Who offered me the position of First Lieutenant aboard the ISS Princess Carolina II, an Orion class, to be engaged in unspecified privateering and security for the belt. And yet it has all been so strange, for no sooner had I shown up at the appointed time and berth than I learned that we had been joined by another ship, a Pallas class christened Apate, and that rather than a crew of 25, I would be serving among a fresh crew of 75. Though I am honored to serve as what has become fifth in command of such a fleet, I am beginning to wonder if I should not have pressed the captain more during my interview. He has shown no signs of dishonesty or unsavory dealings, but such a position on my first excursion seems unnatural, and I am unsettled by it more than I care to admit. I have not asked the captain about it, for he is at once approachable with any problem, and yet closed about himself. I do not yet feel acquainted enough to ask, nor do I want to instill any misgivings about myself. I guess you just taught me to be suspicious, as the entire belt has been preparing for war, and there are more captains hiring than there are men to fill the berths. I suppose I'm still on edge from our first combat simulation. They were terrible. With a 100% casualty rate against hegemony frigates, the captain wasn't pleased with that, I can tell you. I shall write to you with more once I know more. I'll endeavor to send these letters to the usual place next time we dock. Cordially, Caliburn. Hello, denizens of the internet, and welcome back to Starsector Season 2. I hope you guys are still enjoying the introductions. Obviously, this one was not that trailer style that the first one was. I can't do that every week just because the story's not going to support it, but I had to lay it on a little bit thicker than I wanted to just to make it interesting. You know, when you read a book, some books that you read, the first, maybe 2 chapters, maybe even 3 chapters, sometimes even as far as a third of the way into the book, there's really not a lot happening. I mean, you're invested in the story, but there's not a lot happening. Well, we can't really do that on a 3-minute segment before a, half-hour episode or whatever once a week. It's just not going to be able to carry any weight. It's going to be boring. So I had to lay it on a little bit thick there, but, well, there you go. Now, it has come to my attention that we, as the Pegasus Belt Council, have a serious problem. And I hinted this at the last episode, but it very much has real effects on us as we're playing here. We are slow. Not in terms of the overland travel, because we have a maximum burn rate of 9, which is pretty good. But in combat, we are incredibly slow. Very, very slow. And many of the ships that I've gone up against, I have a test game that I had in the background, and going up against the junk pirates, and, we just could not catch them. We could not catch them. The battle would just go on for 20 minutes, and eventually your combat readiness would drop, and you'd either win or you'd lose. We have a serious problem with that. And as we are right now, we're in a hostile system here. If we go down to our intel, and we take a look at our local faction map here, we have a hegemony station and a tritachyon station here in the system with us. Both of these are our enemies. So if we actually go and look at this map, you can see that they're down here. We're actually pretty much right next to each other. And those are going to have military fleets associated with them. We can't really get close. We can't really, I guess, pirate them. I've tried it, and if you get caught out by a patrol, we're just toast. You know, when you start getting those large fleets coming after you. You might be able to prey a little bit on merchant fleets, and I think that's definitely a direction we want to go. But right now, the merchant ships are faster than we are, and so that's kind of a problem. I didn't have the best luck with that. So what I think we're actually going to do to kind of solve this is something that is so unimaginable. I never even dreamed I'd be doing this, but what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to explore the mining side of Nextrelion. This is something that wasn't in the base game. I do believe that the little NPC fleets kind of do some virtual mining, but in Nextrelion, they really have added that. And that's something that will probably make it into the base game at some point. But in the meantime, this is new to Nextrelion. And what you could do is you can outfit some ships. Some ships have some built-in mining capability, and you can mount certain mining weapons that allow you to fly up to asteroids or planets or gas giants and mine them. And what this is going to do is, for some risk, you're going to get resources. Then you can fly those to some station and you can sell them. And there's going to be some strategy in that as to what we mine and where we try to sell it. But first off, we have to get a ship that can mine. But there is a trick here that we're going to take advantage of, and then I'll explain a little bit more how mining works. You notice up here that when you start on January 28th or 29th, something like that. All I have to do is unpause, let the game clock tick a little bit, and we'll actually get a month's wages. Unlike in the vanilla game, you actually get wages here for the passage of time from your commissioned factions. We didn't get that at all in the vanilla game. That's something that's new. When the month rolls over, we'll get 10,000 credits, and that goes up as you become more friendly, or the faction becomes more friendly with you. There we go. We've got our extra 10,000 credits. So that's a really handy trick you can do just at the beginning of your Nextrelion playthrough. Just wait. So I've taken a look at our options here, and if we fly into Murtaugh here, we can actually go and we can buy some of the ships here in the basic market, or we can go over to the military. Now, I've kind of gone two ways on this. One is we can go down the route of getting this mud skipper here. It's very cheap. It's very, very, very cheap to outfit because it only requires 5 crew to operate. And it can store up to 100, has relatively decent cargo capacity, has room for a mining laser. We can progress from there. However, what I'm thinking of doing instead is actually getting this Tarsus freighter. Now, at first glance, looks like it's going to be impossible to do, right? We've got 300 cargo capacity, which is good, but it takes 30 crew. I don't have the funds if I buy this to get 30 crew. But, what we could do is we could take advantage of storage. We can go ahead and put one of our ships in storage. I'm probably going to put both of them. And of course, this immediately looks like we have way too many supplies here. But if we go over and we buy the Tarsus freighter, which we can now afford, what we can do is we can come over here and we can refit this ship to be a mining ship because it has beam weapons on the back. So I could take this mining laser as well as the burst pulsed beam gun, which is another mining capable weapon. This is going to give us a combined capability of doing 2.5 mining strength, which is really low, really low. But that's okay. We're gonna mine a lot. We're gonna be able to store it because of our freighter, and then we're going to sell locally. We only have 634 credits right now. Really not very much. Let's go ahead and put our other captain in this for the moment. And there we go. We're broke at this point. We just barely had enough money to make that work. Our supply use per day, if we take a look at that, is really only going to be 0.33 per day. So I'm not going to... You know what, we should probably go ahead and repair that. So that it goes ahead and gets that out of the way. Now, we don't have very much in the way of supplies, but I think we'll have enough. We better have enough, let me put it that way. I'll buy all that we can, as long as the price is good. 91 per credit, 91 per. The price hasn't moved in the past 3 days. I have no reason to believe that it will. How much can I afford? 4, sure. That replaces the ones we lost. If we go back in here and we take a look at our market, then we can try to get a good idea of where we want to sell and what we want to try to mine. Now, down in the description, I have a link to a forum post by King Alfonso, and it is a fantastic post that explains everything you need to know about mining. That's where I learned all of this. It explains what you're going to get where, how you want to pick markets to sell at, what ships are good at it. Now, of course, all the ships are going to change a little bit depending on what mods you have installed, because some of the ships and weapons that can do mining are from different faction mods. That is going to tell you even more in depth than I can about what is a good place to sell. What you need to do is you need to look at up here the stability. The stability of the market is going to increase the prices you're going to get. It's going to increase the prices you have to pay, but since we're primarily looking to sell, that's a good thing. Now, over here is going to list all the things that affect this station. Now, we talked about this in Season 1, but we didn't really go into detail because we didn't need to know. But we do now. Each one of these potentially is going to affect what the planet consumes as far as resources and what it produces as far as resources. So, for instance, this supply workshop requires crew. It's going to have a demand for crew, but it's going to produce raw organics, volatiles, and metals. So that's going to decrease demand for those three things, but increase the demand for crew. But there's some other things here. For instance, we can go into a lot of these, but I already know which ones are potentially going to affect us. Now here you can see hand weaponry and marines. Vice goods have an increased demand here. Increased demand for fuel and crew. Okay, here's the first one that's really going to affect us because this directly affects mining. What this does is it takes in heavy machinery and produces metal and metal ores. So that means if we get those, this is a bad place to sell because those are being produced by this planet. It's not consuming them. Well, there might be some things that offset that. Let's take a look. Further over, we have the antimatter fuel production facility. And what this does is it needs volatiles, organics, and raw metals to operate, which kind of offsets both the metal from here as well as the production of raw organics, volatiles, and metals from up here. But it's going to require more heavy machinery. There's a lot of things here that require heavy machinery. Requires machinery, organics, and volatiles. Okay, so we can take this, and then we can go over to the market info, and we can kind of get a sense of what that is going to mean for us. Anytime the arrow is pointing to the left, means that there is more demand than this planet is producing, and it's being imported. And of course, you can see up here the trade volume that is going on at this planet. And I believe this is per month? Not sure. And then, of course, you can see the overall demand. Now, if this overall demand drops too much, the stability of the planet market will drop as well. But here you can see they're importing food, organics, volatiles, domestic goods, recreational drugs, hand weapons, luxury goods, supplies, which is not good because we're going to be buying a lot of those, rare metals, and heavy machinery. Okay, so already, I can tell you, just looking at this, that, for instance, ores are probably a bad thing. And in trying to figure this out, and this is being reworked in the economic update that's coming up, but I think I've pretty well figured out what this means. Okay, so the local production of volatiles, for instance, is meeting 34% of the demand. The rest of it, if you go over here, 34% and 66%, makes 100%, is being imported. So 100% of the demand for volatiles is being met because what isn't being locally produced is being imported. If this did not add up to 100%, that would mean there is unchecked demand, and you'd see that the demand is not being met. That might be happening down here. Yeah, this Templar flux core, you can see that some of the demand is not being met. However, in this case, all the demand is being met, and currently they have more than they need, 42% more than they need. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but as this number increases, obviously the value of that good is going to decrease. Okay, so that was a deep dive into market mechanics here. There are some other weird things that are going on. If you go down here, for instance, where there's local demand not being met because it's being exported, weird stuff like that. I don't understand it. If you do, please leave a comment so that other people can learn what I don't know. But, okay, from this we can see, or probably not going to be a good thing to sell here. But definitely volatiles and organics, which we can also get from mining, particularly gas giants, that's very good. That's going to be a good thing to sell here because there is a lot of demand for this. And what that really is going to mean is, even if we dump a lot of goods on the market, the price will recover. There is demand for these goods. It's going to be hard for us to drop the floor on the price. We can sell ores, but as we sell and sell and sell and sell ores, the price is going to drop, and there isn't a large force that's going to drive that price back up, which means it's going to cease being profitable at some point. Okay, now what you really want to do is when you're first trying to pick out what you're going to mine and where, is you want to fly around to a few of the other markets around and get a sense for what the prices are there. So for instance, right up here we have a Diablo world, and I should probably go up there and check what the prices are for these same goods there. Now, I've already done that. It's pretty much the same. What we're actually going to do is we're going to fly over here to Murtaugh 2, and we're going to mine there. This is an uninhabited world. It is completely bereft of life, and nobody cares if we mine it. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, when you mine a planet in Nexrelian, it's going to tell you your mining strength, your hazard rating, and what your resource exhaustion is. Your mining strength is going to come from what it lists right here if you click on what ships and weapons can mine. This is going to be a strength rating that is going to affect how much you get per mining operation. Certain ships are going to be good at it. For instance, the Reaper here is amazing. I have no idea what this ship is, but it is extremely good at mining. I can buy the Telkeen at the Cyanation, and that's probably actually going to be what we go for. In addition, you have weapons that can mine. So for instance, I put on the mining laser and the pulsed beam gun, which is going to give me a 3.5. I think earlier I said a 2.5, but it's a 3.5. If we can get our hands on a mining blaster or something like that, maybe even a tractor beam, that's going to be even better. So if we click on our own ships, you can see that this one particular ship can mine. Now, unfortunately, my big, large freighter, which has 4 ballistic mounts, I didn't find any weapon that I could put on there that would give me mining capabilities. Ballistic mounts, bad for mining. So I had to rely on the energy mounts to do this. But what you do is you just click on Start Mining, and you wait. That's really it. And what's going to happen is, when this bar fills up, is you're going to get a report for what you mined, and if anything happened. A couple things can happen. If you have a hazard rating at wherever you're mining, bad things can happen. This is usually going to be you lose some crew, your ship gets damaged, something like that. Not going to be the end of the world. I haven't found any case where it's just like, you lost your ship, or anything like that, but you have to be aware it can happen. However, you can also find like resource caches. I've gotten hand weapons from planets before, I've gotten rare ores, things that aren't listed down here in the what you might get category. So be aware of that. Now, as you continue to mine this planet, your resource exhaustion is going to go up. That means as this planet gets overmined, you're going to be getting less and less and less per mining operation. And so you're going to notice that these values are going to start decreasing. Now that's not such a big deal because over time it will recover, and as long as you aren't just going to one planet, like we're currently doing, and mining over and over and over and over and over and over again, you're going to be okay as long as you kind of cycle around and give the plants time to recharge. But I don't suspect that's going to be a problem for us. We're not going to be mining for, 67 episodes here. We're just going to be mining enough that we can get some more funds and we can start building up a proper fleet instead of, dinky mining fleet. Now, we do have a hazard rating here, but that's not too bad. 0.25 is really not too bad. I've seen some gas giants and stuff that have hazard ratings up around like 3 and things like that. So let's go ahead and mine. We're just going to mine a couple times here. Unfortunately, you can't see your cargo here, which is really, really annoying. I just go into fleet and I can see how much cargo I have. And I need to keep an eye on my supply use, because if I do have a hazard that causes damage, here we go. That's going to increase my supply use on my fleet. So I have to make sure that I have enough supplies to make it back to the planet to sell. But let's go ahead and, why did our mining strength go down? Our mining strength went down because we lost combat readiness on our mining ship. Didn't know that was a thing. Probably useful to spread your mining capabilities around then, but I've, of course, dropped the other ship from my fleet, so to reduce my... Ooh. Yeah, we're taking some damage, but that's okay. Hopefully we'll at least break even, possibly even, you know, make some more money, because that's our ultimate goal here, but... what this reminds me, I have this... Ooh. Okay, so here's one of those caches. We got 5 Annihilator rocket launchers. That's fantastic. Food, which is being imported at Murtaugh, and hand weapons, which are being imported. This is fantastic. This is a lot of money, I think we just found. I say a lot of money, but it's probably a couple thousand. Let's keep going where our mining strength is getting back up, so that's good. If I wasn't so close on supplies, I might wait a couple days if my mining strength has dropped a lot. That way, I'm not incurring risk for no reward. But I really don't have enough to just sit around and wait for that. Now, what I was going to say is, part of me is absolutely just cringing right now. Because, you know, we get started, we'll start up the game, let's go mine. And I think that's coming from my time playing EVE Online. EVE Online, if you've never played it before, is this big open MMO, and pretty much everybody, the first thing they do when they get in the game for the first time is they sit down and they go, oh my gosh, this game is so packed full of stuff. What do I do? You know, you're in this tiny little ship that you're absolutely dwarfed by these huge ships flying around, and God, you don't know how to survive, let alone the fact that you pretty much can't because you're really, really weak. So you're like, what can I do? Well, you know, let me do something safe while I figure the game out. I'm gonna mine. I'll mine for some money while I train up and can afford a good ship, and then by then I'll know how to play the game and I can use it. That's a good idea. And you're like, alright, so I'm gonna mine. And then like 4 months later, you're sitting there on your like 4 hours in of just watching these little laser beams claw across at these asteroids, and you go, why am I still training mining? Wasn't the whole plan to like train combat and like go out and like take part in the world? And you're like, why am I training exhumers, you know? I did that. I mined, you know, and I mean, I went on to do other things, but I started out mining, and gosh. So part of me right now is just cringing because, I mean, this is not what you picture when you picture Starsector. You don't picture somebody making a mining fleet and then just going out and repeatedly mining a desert world 10 feet from their home world, you know? But we need money. Now, one thing you need to watch out for if you don't have a large freighter like we do is as you're mining, you want to be watching down here. Because if you ever see red appear here, it's probably because you're now over your cargo capacity. And that's going to increase your supply use, it's going to decrease your speed, and if you go over too far, it means you're going to crawl back to your planet. This is probably where we'll end, because we're getting a little bit low on supplies. I might be able to go one more, depending on... Well, we didn't actually take any damage from that, so let's go ahead. Now, we are leveling up. You can see we're getting experience here, and you can actually just level up from mining, which, if that happens, I'm completely okay with, because there's at least one more skill point I want, so I can get my... what is it? My... oh, hey, we got a cache. On my character here. I want to get my evasive action up to level 5 for that additional maneuverability, especially since our ships are so slow. This is really, really going to be helpful. Now, how are we doing on cargo? We'll cut it really close if we mine and have an accident. We're doing pretty good. 187 on cargo. You know what? Let's go ahead and mine again. We're close enough. We can make that work. And then we'll fly on back. Repairs completed. Very good. We're not going to incur any risk of slowdown because our cargo is fine. Okay, we did take an accident. Let's go ahead and leave like this, and we'll fly up here. How are we doing for crew as well? We lost some crew, but, you know, win some, lose some, right? So let's fly back over here, and we'll see what loot we can get from this. Okay, so... It's okay, let's go ahead and into the market here. Now, we are carrying illegal goods. But if we go here to the military, we can sell those. You can sell illegal goods to the military just fine. It's a problem if you get scanned, I believe. But we can sell to the military without any repercussion. Now, of course, you're going to need at least, I think, 25 reputation with any faction to do this. But of course, in Nexrelia, in your starting faction, you start out with, I think, 60. So let's go. What is that weapon? Ooh. Shoots 20 missiles? Wow. 62 shots per minute, but you're only going to get 4 shots with it. Okay. 5 shots. I can do math. Okay, so let's go ahead and sell the recreational drugs. Drugs, man. And let's go ahead and confirm that. Just get rid of them. And let's make sure that the price is the same between the military and market. It is. Okay. So let's go ahead and sell our ore, our regular ore, our organics, our hand weapons, our food, probably the Annihilator rocket pods. I don't know. They're only worth 37 apiece. I might keep them. So we got 4,000. Okay, so now we have to replace what we lost. See if we actually made money in this endeavor. Alright, so we lost... We lost 19 supplies. I can't get it to 19. We'll just go with 20. And that's going to leave us... It's going to take a chunk out. We're going to need some crew. I think we had 80 crew? Okay, we'll go ahead and sort that. And there we go. So we actually did make a little bit of money from that. We didn't make a lot. In fact, actually, I don't have enough supplies. Don't know what I was looking at. We really didn't actually make much in the way of money. We made about 300 from that. Obviously, this is not ideal. If we hadn't gotten those weapon caches, we'd actually have lost capability. But that's actually okay, because what I can do, let's go ahead and look at the ship weapons, see if we have any mining-capable weapons in here, first off. We don't there. Let's take a look at the military. Actually, let's go here to our fleet. Let's see if we can refit this ship for better mining. Now, we have a heavy mauler here. Is this a ballistic-only mount? No, it's not. Mining blaster. Okay, if we can get 1,440 credits, we can get a mining blaster. This is going to dramatically increase our mining capabilities on our fleet. So that's where I want to go. I've got 713 credits. So can I get there with what I have on hand? Obviously, if I sell those, not going to happen. I could sell some fuel. That can get us there. We got some fuel from mining, so let's go ahead and sell some fuel. I think I actually got 14 fuel, so I think now I can go in here and I can afford that mining blaster. Perfect. Let's do it. Okay, so now we back down to our number of credits, and now I'm going to have a mining strength of 13 and some, which I think we still incur the same risk. So now we're going to be getting more for the same risk. I'm not 100% sure on that. Let's go ahead and repair our ships. You know what? Let's go ahead and fill up on supplies, because we're going to use them. Alright, now we're now up to 48 and 81 crew. Try to remember that, because we'll try to get back to that mark to see if we're actually making enough money. Okay, so let's leave and we'll go back and mine some more. Okay, yeah, this isn't terribly exciting, but really all we're doing is we're trying to make money. We know in, what is it, a couple more days, 2 weeks, we'll get another paycheck. That will help in addition to, I'm trying to get to a point where what I'm really looking to do is I'm actually looking to fly over here to Hell. The reason being, this is a gas giant. You might have seen it actually in the introduction in episode 1. And if I can go over there, I can get a lot of organics and volatiles, which sell for a lot back here at Murtaugh. But right now, our mining capability is so low that I don't know that the long trip, that might take a week or more to do each way, and I really don't know that it's worthwhile to do that. I might be incurring too much loss. So until I get my mining strength up, I probably are just going to mine here at this little desert world here. Alright, so our mining strength is now 12. And if we list, we can see it's all coming from this ship here. It's a little bit lower than I thought it would be. Mining blaster is 10. Mining laser is 1.5. I feel like I should have 13.5, but it's okay. We'll go ahead and mine. We'll see if the accidents are worse now that we have more mining strength. I'm hoping they aren't. But you can see we actually already got 20 ore, 11 organics, and 3 rare ore. Hazard rating is the same, so I'm thinking that actually means we're okay. Now, because we have more mining strength, we're going to be increasing the resource exhaustion at a higher rate. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. This is now increasing at a pretty high rate, but you know, all we've seen is 0.01 reduction on our ore. And ore is the least profitable, so, you know, okay. Hopefully we'll level up soon. If I look at our character, no, we're only a third of the way there, so that's okay. Really, this is all about just getting some money, and that trading ship is always going to be useful. I mean, we won't be bringing it into combat, but that ship is going to remain useful, whether it's for carrying around looted cargo. If you remember right, in Season 1, as soon as we got a carrier, we were flying around at 0.8 anyway, and we were having to ditch all of our goods. I'd rather not do that again. I'd rather be able to keep our goods on hand. So this is good. This is a good step. Right now, every choice we've made is a choice that we would be making anyway, just not necessarily in the order that I would have thought when I sat down to do this series. Okay, so how are we doing on cargo? We're pretty full on cargo. So if we do go over, you'll see this little red bar here appear, and that dramatically increases our supply use per day. And right now, I can't afford that. Let's go ahead and take a look. 293 out of 310. We're just going to take that and go on home. Supply use is currently repairs, I believe. Yep. So let's fly on home and see what we can sell. Now, we didn't get too many resource caches that time. In fact, I don't think we got any. So this may not be the most profitable trip. But let's go ahead, sell that, and then replace our supplies. And we did lose a little bit of crew. But we still received 1,500. Okay, so that's not fantastic. That's not... well, actually, let's go ahead here and repair. And we actually made just a hair bit less than that. Okay, so we did make some money. We didn't make a lot of money. And you can see why you're not going to be doing this for a lot of the game. But in the base game, you have the pirates to pick on, especially because I think you always start in Corvus. And pirates are in the game to be abused. They really are. They're in the game to be abused. They fly D-variant ships, they are weaker ships, they have critical flaws, you're meant to pick on them, you're meant to feed off of them and get started. In Nexrelian, we don't have that option. Our only enemy ships here are well-equipped enemies, Hegemony and Tritachyon. We can't fight Tritachyon ships, we're way too slow, we're not maneuverable enough in combat to be able to fight those ships. Hegemony, there's no way we can face that sort of damage. As soon as our shields go down, those missiles are going to come flying in. They're going to blow us up. You saw that with the 2 lashers we fought in episode 1. Okay, there we go. We got our cash this time. That'll increase our profit. So, I mean, really, our options here are try to go out into hyperspace, find somewhere with pirates, and that way we can survive. Or mine. I mean, that's really, I mean, we might be able to trade, but really these are our only choices for getting started in the game. I would probably only consider this at the beginning of the game, because really, once you have a very large fleet, you're going to be slow enough, you're going to be targeted by hostile ships. You're going to get in situations where you've stripped mine planets, you have to go far afield, and then you're going to get jumped. Right now, I'm right next to my homeworld. You can see military detachments flying all around. I'm pretty safe here. I've got Cynation defense here. I've got Diablo Avionics defense. One day I'll figure out how to say that correctly. And I've got my own Pegasus Belt Council ships. So I'm pretty safe here. And it's not really safe. I could be attacked here. I've got my emergency burn. I could probably even make it back before they'd be able to catch me. Now, I know this isn't the most exciting thing out there, but it is a real thing you can do in the game. I mean, I figure it's at least as interesting as trading from one planet to another, and at least this gives me an opportunity to show you guys how this works. This is something I didn't know how it worked, and I didn't find very good information out there on how to make this work. If it wasn't for that forum post by King Alfonso, I'd have no idea how this worked. I mean, I was kind of figuring it out. I knew, okay, I could put a mining laser on a ship and it would work, but I didn't know where to sell my goods or how and what was going to affect the price of the goods I was selling. And now, of course, here, we're doing a very bad thing. We're continuing to sell the same goods at the same market, and those goods are not what that market is consuming. So we're doing a very bad thing here. But really, this is all I can really do at the moment. I don't have a fleet that can survive the trip to hell, and I don't know that I have enough cargo space and enough miners to make it worthwhile. So really, this is our best bet for the early game, for the very early game. Once next month rolls around or something like that, we might step back and we might go a different route. But for right now, this is our best bet. So, okay, so this time we got a lot of money, because we got supplies from our planet mining, and so I don't have to replace those. I'm actually at the same number I started with. I got 3.5K for this load. So now that we've also received our monthly bonus, I'm almost back up to the level where I was at when I bought the miner. We've spent a month in game. I mean, this is a slow process, but now I have a cargo ship, and I'm almost back to where we were at before. So I'm not bothering to buy more supplies because I know I can fill up my cargo space with the supplies I have on hand, and that makes it more profitable each trip I do, and I don't really want to be spending all my money on supplies. So we're just going to continue to mine here. We will go and do other things. We will go over and mine the gas giant at some point once it becomes profitable for me to do that. But in the meantime, we're just going to sit here and we're going to mine. We're going to lose some crew, but, you know, win some, lose some, right? Hey, we actually leveled up. So this appears to be per the amount of resources you get, I'm guessing. The crew experience gain does seem to have gone up. So let's go ahead and dump our extra skill point into evasive action and get that to level 5. Now, do I want to go for another combat ability, or do I want to save the skill point for my next aptitude point? Is anything up here going to be useful? Well, I mean, yeah, but more useful than saving the point. Flux dissipation rate is really nice. You know what, let's go ahead and save it. We're not doing any combat at the moment, so it doesn't make much sense to put points into that. But you can see you can actually level up from this at a decent clip. I mean, we're a month into the game, we've just been mining, and we've already leveled up, so yay! I know this is wildly exciting, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and stop the episode here, and next week we're probably going to get into the gas mining and making the run to and from. You know, there are going to be hostile ships along the way. We'll go ahead and we'll stop by the Diabla avionics station as well as the Psi Nations system, and we will see what those markets have to offer us. And what I'll do in between is I'll go ahead and continue mining here, make up some more money, so that we can actually do a little bit more next episode. But I just wanted to go ahead and show you this, because this is something that isn't in the base game, and I wanted to see how it worked. And if you haven't seen Nexrelian before, then now you know a little bit about how this works, and you know a little bit about how we've been able to make this profitable for us. And once again, I am over my limit here, and I am incurring a huge cost per day. This is huge. No, that is hundreds of credits going down the hole there. I'll do a little bit more mining before we come back next time. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and hopefully next episode we'll get this show on the road. See you then.